Welcome back to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. This is Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook, joined by our director of high school scouting, Cornell Hunter, unveiling the 2012 football game plan preseason high school All-American team. We're talking about the defensive side of football now, and we always have to start up front with the front four. So let's look at the defensive end position. Let's talk about Tim Williams out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Well, Tim Williams is a great athlete. This is a kid who has a non-stop motor. He's a kid that plays with intense aggression. He always attacks the ball. We always talk about see ball, hit ball. Tim Williams is a guy that when the ball is snaps, he knows how to find the ball. And he's 225 pounds now. He has a great power rush move, and typically he dominates on the high school level. But this guy is an athlete who can also step out and play outside linebacker.
And you look at another athletic guy on the defensive line, Robert Kimdiche out of Loganville, Georgia. Talk a little bit about him and why he's so dominant.
Well, Kimdiche is a top prospect on almost everyone's board. The reason being, this kid has an NFL body right now. The kid is 6'5", 260 pounds with the senior season still to play. So you can imagine what his senior season is going to be like. He's very athletic. He never quits on a play. He also doubles as a fullback. Sometimes they hand him the ball on offense. That's how agile or how much of an athlete this kid is. So Kimdiche is a top prospect. What makes him so valuable is that you don't have to worry about his size. This kid has an NFL body right now.
Right, and look on the defensive line. On the interior, defensive tackle D-liner out of Muscle Shoals, Alabama. Why is he so special?
D-liner is a guy that commands a double team. If you don't double team him, your play is going to be disrupted. D-liner has been making plays since his sophomore season. Last year during his junior season, he had over 16 sacks. He's going into his senior campaign. He's already verbal to Auburn, but this is a kid who is a monster. He literally needs to be double teamed. If you don't, you're in trouble.
And speaking of Auburn, look at Auburn, California. You look at Eddie Vanderdoes. Why is he on this ball club?
Vanderdoes is a kid out on the West Coast who is rock solid. This kid is 300 plus pounds, but he doesn't carry it. It isn't a sloppy 300 pounds. This kid is a rock of 300 pounds. And he is another kid who bursts through the line. He always commands a double team, and he can break down real easy. He doesn't overrun plays, so when the play's in front of him to be made, Vanderdoes is a pretty good tackler. The one thing he needs to work on is lowering his base, but he's a big kid.
And when you got a good defensive line, it makes the linebackers that much better. But these guys that you have on your list don't need defensive line help. These guys are awesome players. Start with Jalen Smith out of Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Jalen Smith is an amazing athlete. This kid also doubles as his team's running back, and he ran for over 1,000 yards while starting at the linebacker position. But Jalen Smith is an aggressive tackler. He's awesome in pursuit. He can run you down from any point on the field. Jalen Smith is a go-getter at the linebacker position.
Now you look at Reuben Foster. You talk about see ball, hit ball. Why is this guy on this ball club?
Hey, you can't talk about the 2013 linebacking class without mentioning Reuben Foster. This kid is 250 pounds. He runs like a deer, and he's fearless. And on tape, people flinch before he gets to him. Like, this kid is hitting hard. So I love Reuben Foster.
That's the mark of a good linebacker. Melvin Jones out of Lake Charles, Louisiana is another one of those classic linebackers with a lot of athleticism.
Yeah, and this is another big kid, 6'3", 250 pounds, doubles as his team quarterback. He also has great hands. He's caught many picks from the defensive side of the ball. He can run like a deer. He's also one of those kids who's so big that the average high school kid just doesn't want to be touched by this guy, and he's coming downhill every time. I love what I see out of Melvin Jones from the linebacker position.
Now you look at the secondary, you go out to Maryland, there's a guy out there that caught your attention at the cornerback spot. Talk a little bit about Kendall Fuller and what he brings to the table.
Well, Kendall Fuller is a phenomenal athlete. He's one of those two-way guys as well. He also plays wide receiver for his team, but Kendall Fuller is a smooth athlete. This guy, nothing looks too hard for him on the football field. He catches the ball well in traffic on the offensive side of the ball, which directly translates to his ability as a corner, because when he sees the ball, he believes that it's his ball to have. So Kendall Fuller is a lockdown corner in my opinion.
And what about Gerald Blazer of Brazil, on the opposite side of LaGranger, Louisiana?
That was the perfect misspeak because this kid is a blazer. He is a track athlete. He's also a football player though. This kid is all-world speed. He's also his team's running back. He starts at corner, tremendous leaping ability. If he gets his hand on the pick, it's probably going back to the house. I love what I see out of Gerald Brazil out of Lawrence, Louisiana.
A lot of athleticism. Even in the safety position, Preece Willis out of Tempe, Arizona, a guy in the Southwest doing some great things on the field. Talk about him.
Preece Willis is a guy who has tremendous size. He's a tall guy, but he also is a threat in run defense. He steps up. He loves to tackle. This guy comes downhill, fights through blocks, and don't sleep on his ability to go get the ball. He also has great hands. You'll see him jumping up, taking balls at the highest point from the receiver. So he's an excellent ball defender. And we always talk about hands versus ball skills.
Right.
Hands mean can you catch? Ball skills, can you make a play on the ball? This guy has hands and ball skills. So
that's dangerous. And one of my favorite prospects in the country, Sue Cravens, a guy that's just all over the field out of Marietta, California. Talk about this guy and what he's doing out there on the West Coast.
Cravens, I will say this, Cravens has the best tape that I've looked at. I mean, he may be the #1 prospect on the football game plan board when it's all said and done. This kid plays running back, linebacker, defensive end, corner, safety. Wherever you want him, he can make it happen. And the thing is, the kid has a great build. He's already 6'1", 205 or so pounds. But when he's on the football field, you can tell that he's at peace. This guy is comfortable at any position on the field, has great speed, great agility. He can tackle, this kid has it all. He is on the West Coast. Cravens is something special on that side of the country.
And speaking of special and speed, you look at the punter. You look at Johnny Townsend out of Orlando, Florida. Talk a little bit about Townsend.
Hey, Johnny Townsend, this is something that I love to see out of a punter. I've seen this guy kick for distance. I've seen this guy kick accurately. And I've seen this guy kick in the face of pressure. So Johnny Townsend is a great punter. This kid is from Atlanta, Georgia, and I think he's committed to Georgia Tech at this time, but he's a great punter. I love what I see out of Townsend.
And you also look at the return specialist, Robert Foster. We talked about him in the offensive video, but talk about his skills as a returner.
Hey, Robert Foster is an electric playmaker. This guy never quits on a play. He never believes the play is over. He's one of those kids who will zigzag. He fears going out of bounds. He's not trying to go out of bounds. He's trying to score on every play. But the thing is, you have to have the skill to be able to pull that off. So the thing is, while he may run back and forth, he has a type of agility that allows him to make plays that the average athlete cannot make.
And you look at that, rounding out our high school All-American team, offense, defense, special teams, we covered it all here at Football Game Plan. The defensive All-American first team were impressive, but these guys here on our second team are equally as impressive.
Yes, the one guy I like to start with is Justin Manning out of Dallas, Texas. This is a defensive tackle who plays with great base, and he's always under his feet, and he has good leg drive. Montravius Adams is a kid out of Georgia who, when you put on his tape, he's so quick off the ball, most linemen have trouble even trying to put a hand on him. And the linebackers, you have to go way out in the middle of the Pacific. You have Isaac Savinaya. This kid plays downhill and is willing to take on blockers. That's what I really like to see. And in the secondary, the guy that I'm most impressed with, who was bordering on first team All-American, is Mackenzie Alexander. This kid plays corner with the intensity of a linebacker. He's the type of corner that can hold tackling drills for the linebacking group if you have a high school team. And at the safety position, I really like Jeremy Cutler out of Kentwood, Louisiana. This kid is 6'3". He's a fierce tackler. I would like to see him focus more on playing the ball instead of the man, because he does have good ball skills, but he's the kid that's always looking for the big hit. And at the punter position, we have Jimmy Hutchinson out of Kennesaw, Georgia on our second team all defense.